Day 2 of the Magnús vs Magnússon Classic, and the athletes had more elements to deal with, more implements to deal with, and more controversial decisions to deal with. So event number 1 on day 2 was the log lift medley. 4 logs starting with 120 kilos, moving up to 135 kilos, up to 150 kilos, and I believe the last log, the Jean-Paul Sigmarsson log, really lovely bits of kit that have been made specifically for the Magnús vs Magnússon Classic, was 165 kilos. And like we said, not just the events to challenge with the elements as well.
Yeah, although the weather looked a little better today than it did yesterday.
It looked much better. It's a bit more just rain to deal with today, whereas yesterday it was ice, sleet, snow.
Gales.
Yeah, it looked terrible yesterday. Today was a little more calm, just typical
Icelandic weather this time of year. So 5 guys managed to do all 4 logs, and they were Ryan England, Dennis Koolruus, who is Germany's strongest man, Eyþór Ingolfsson Melsted, Sami Ahola, and Maxime Boudreau.
So we should point out that Sami Ahola is not related to Juha Ahola. It just is a fairly common name in Finland. You know, they've had some amazing strongmen in the past. It looks like they've got some really good ones coming through right now. The elements were better today.
Yeah.
We kind of have joked about a little bit about how bad it was yesterday, and to be honest, it was bad. I've spoken to a number of the guys, and you know, it was tough to deal with. Today, a little warmer, a little calmer, a little bit of rain to deal with, which was a bit more of an issue on the second event today. But the log, it wasn't really too much of an issue. They had the logs were beautifully made, and I think sometimes just in those conditions where you're waiting around, you just kind of cool a little, and it's just not. It's just not perfect conditions, this is very much going back to traditional strongman events.
Yeah, very much so. This is a really rustic type of competition, isn't it? Like we said on our last video, it's not perfect conditions in an arena. You're not going to see the absolute top performances from the guys, but they're going to be challenged in different ways, and that's what strongman is all about. That's the roots of strongman.
That's where it all came from, you know, and you think about real traditional roots of strength up in the Highlands in Scotland, in Iceland, those kind of countries.
Real pure strength competitions. I love it personally. I know it's not for everyone, especially newer fans to the sport who aren't.
I think some people, they want to see like the world records lifted, and you know, I've got to say,
I don't. I want to see.
I love the arena shows, but I think it's nice having a little variety, and I think that's what Magnús has tried to do. Go back to that traditional strongman event. You know, I've seen some comments saying it's a little bit rustic. It's not as smooth,
it's not as polished
run as maybe a Giants Live show, but it's a much smaller budget that they're dealing with. And speaking to Magnús when I was over at the Rogue Invitational, he said he wants to try and build this each year. So this is like the first one, and he wants to make it bigger and better. He's got a good list of athletes to go and compete. You know, you've got two World's Strongest Man finalists from this year in this lineup, a whole host of really good up and comers. Great to see someone giving these guys that chance. So,
definitely.
You know, props to Magnús there. I've got to say, right, the winner of the log, we should just point out, because we pointed out the 5 guys doing. The winner was Maxime Boudreau. Little controversy for Maxime again. There seems to be something out to get Maxime while he's in Iceland.
Sure, that's not the case.
It's a bit of a weird ruling again. They had to make sure that the logs were like perfectly placed on these mats, and he was told he had to come back, and it's a good job they didn't stop him doing the next one. He just came back and made sure it was put in place. His time was still way ahead of everyone else. All 4 in 35.75. He's the only person to go under 40 seconds.
Yeah.
Ryan England from England, second place in the log. Really happy to see him do well. Ryan is a good friend of mine and one of my clients as well. He's had a lot to go through this year. Good to see him on the up, good to see him performing well on the log again. So event number 2 was a very traditional Icelandic event again. They did natural stones up to the shoulder, so they love their stone lifting up in Iceland. They're going to be finishing with the world famous Husafell stone as the last event, but this was 4 stones, and they had to shoulder it, take the hand away, you get your down signal, move on to the next one. If you can do all 4, it's the quickest time to do all 4. So the stones weighed from 100 all the way up to 145 kilos, and we had 6 athletes manage to lift all 4. And the winning athlete was Christian Haraldsson from Iceland. As Magnús pointed out, they call him Monster Baby. I don't quite know why. That used to be Thor's nickname. But the new Monster Baby.
I'm looking at a picture of him. I can see it.
He's got that look that he's a determined young man.
But youthful as well.
Yes, of course. He's certainly not like the most strongmen that are a bit more haggard.
No.
like myself, maybe. But yeah, really good performance there by Christian. As I said, 5 other athletes lifting all 4 stones. This was a challenging one though, because they were in the rain.
Yeah.
Stones, actually natural stones are a little bit better than Atlas stones in the rain. There's a little bit more areas to grab hold of. You could see some people were well trained in this event. They kind of knew how to sort of get their arm under, one arm over, and sort of throw it up across the shoulders. Other guys, you saw them muscling up. Unfortunately, Stan Carradine, it looks like he's torn his bicep, hopefully just a strain, but you could see him kind of reaching down. That it's always a shame to see that. Unfortunately, one of the side effects of doing strongman. We see injuries at all levels of competitions, and you know, it's one of those things you never like to see, but they are all well aware that there are these risks. So going into day 3, there's a real battle at the top of this leaderboard at the moment between Sami Ahala, who is currently in 3rd place with 44 points. Then we have Maxime Boudreau, who's in 2nd place, 45 points, just 1 point ahead. And then just 2 points ahead of that is Athor. So it's going to be a lot to fight for. And Maxime probably, I mean, if you watch his training, his deadlift's getting better.
Yeah.
The deadlift is the first event tomorrow.
Yeah.
He's probably thinking that's where I need to really hold on to as many points as I can.
Yeah, I'm sure Maxime would have preferred a bit of a lead at this point going into the deadlift, just to sort of cushion any blow there.
Absolutely.
But there's a couple of guys out of the competition now, you know, and at this level, I think Maxime's deadlift should hold its own. It's a deadlift for
I was
reps,
just sort of, I'm looking through the list of athletes, and the only one in there that I know personally is a really good deadlifter is Kim.
Yeah.
Kim from Greenland. It's not had the best competition for him. He's new to competing at this level, but he does have a lot of potential. Obviously, I know from coaching him, he's been disappointed with his performance, but his deadlift is actually very, very good. So hopefully he can put in a good performance on that tomorrow and climb his way up. It's going to be a battle, I think. I think it's going to come down to Maxime and Athor. They are the 2 most experienced athletes in the show. I've been very impressed with Sami Ahala.
Yeah.
It's good to see a new Finn doing really well. Ryan England's doing really well, in top 5 at the moment. Good to see him competing at this level and doing well. Irvin, he's still dangerous. Dennis Chorus, you know, there's a lot of good names, and 2 events, especially with this many guys, there's still a lot of points to play for.
Yeah,
so it's not like, you know, a group at World's Strongest Man where you've only got 5 or 6 guys.
No, exactly, and you can't really get ahead of people, can you?
It's a lot of points to fight for.
Yeah.
I think we're in for an exciting finish, and with the Husafell Stone being the last event,
I'm excited about
all going to want to push on that one.
So all of the events that have taken place so far are available to watch on the Rogue Fitness YouTube channel, and tomorrow's events, the deadlift is at 10:30, and then the final, the Husafell Stone, is at 2:30 UK time.
So guys, with 2 events left to go in the contest, who do you think is going to take the win? While you're here guys, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my awesome strength content.